Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round one of the Raceroom Formula 3 Cross Club Challenge. Tonight, we are here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. My name is Sheller3, and I am joined in the commentating booth by Arthur. Arthur, how are you doing tonight?
Hello, Sheller. Thanks. I'm doing well. It's looking like an exciting race today. Godzilla's looking quite quick today, so
Definitely.
it's looking like it's going to be fun.
Definitely. Qualifying is already underway. A couple of the cars have already set flying laps. Godzilla currently on the pole position. This is the first race of a 4-races series as part of this Cross Club Challenge. The 3 clubs represented today are RWB International, the Raceroom Free Race Community, RFRC, and MSI, Motor Sim Italy. We have members from all 3 clubs present here, so it should be some good racing between the clubs, as it's not just the individual drivers competing, but also competing for each of their respective clubs. Like I said, there's 4 races in the series, each hitting up some of the top European tracks. So we're starting here in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, before moving to Hungary for the Hungary Ring next week. No mandatory pit stops, however, it is a 30-minute race, so there will be a cycle of pit stops as the F3 cars have to come in for fuel. Damage model is limited, and it's 2 30-minute races. Tuning is on for all the cars. Right now, for qualifying, the track it has a nice 18 degrees Celsius air temperature, 32-degree track. No breeze, sunny and dry with very few clouds. So the weather is very nice for all this racing. As we hop back into qualifying, Jake Moore currently on the pole with a 125.4, followed by Godzilla in second with a 125.9. So a good half-second gap between the top 2 cars currently. As we see
I was going to say that... Oh, sorry. I was going to say that the fastest time in practice was a 125.1, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm thinking the times are going to get a lot faster than this over the course of the session.
Yeah, definitely. Jake's still within about 2/10 of his top practice time, but still definitely a little bit slower in qualifying. Godzilla, just about the same story, running a little bit slower than practice. Could be track conditions. Could just be the fuel load they're running right now. As we hop on board with Godzilla, who is about to cross the start-finish line. Coming into turn 1 and headed onto the second straight here.
He's gonna use this toe from the car in front quite well, I think. But into sector 2, when the twisty corners, I think he might get a bit of dirty air from it.
Yeah, he's not quite close enough to take full advantage of that draft currently. To help improve that lap time. Just right now, following the car in front though. Trying to improve that qualifying time just a little bit. He's a little bit over in sector 1, waiting for the sector 2 timing to come in.
I think he went a little deep there into turn 4, is it? He had a little bit of a moment of oversteer. I think, oh, that's another one.
Just a little bit loose there, so that'll lose him just a little bit of time. Probably not going to beat his best lap here.
Yeah, he was 5/10 down by the second sector, I think. So
looks like car going off track right in front of him. As we hop over to Valentin Crusoe, who looks like to be finishing a lap here, the 128.33. which puts him up into 16th place, up from 20th. So improving on his time a little bit. RDB Charger about to cross the line with a 129.5, which puts him into 21st position so far. Flipping over to Don Jordan, he is still trying to set a valid qualifying up. He has yet to set a successful lap as we are just about 9 minutes into qualifying. A little bit over 8, I should say. Dealing with just a little bit of traffic there coming out of the pits, but relatively unaffected. Coming around the final corner, back on the front straight for another try at a lap. Let's see what it comes in at.
Let's go on board. That's a little bit of oversteer on the exit, but he shouldn't have lost too much time from that.
It looks like that last lap was invalid, so probably went a little bit wide on the corners, exceeded track limits. All the drivers pushing their cars to the limits here in qualifying, trying to get that best possible lap time. Getting a little bit loose, and into the wall. Yeah. Don Jordan goes in qualifying with 9 minutes remaining. So he resets to the pits, repair that car, and hopefully get another stint out. Maybe work on that setup, make it a little bit less loose.
I was thinking he had a very good entry into that corner where he spun, but he just got a little bit too excited on the throttle there on the exit.
Yeah, definitely getting on that power, just with tires and not wanting to stick, and sending his car right around into the wall. Jake Moore still on the pole here, with qualifying about halfway done, 10 minutes remaining. The top 5 currently, halfway through the qualifying, are Jake Moore, RWB Godzilla in second, Don Jordan in third, Dirk Gretschel in fourth, and RWB John D in fifth. Those lap times within a bit over seconds, so about 1.3 seconds to separating those top 5. So definitely a lot of time to be gained there by the midfield. Jake Moore heading out of the pits on for another lap. Purple in sector 1. Yeah, purple in sector 1. We'll see what a sector 2 comes in.
It's just a little bit slower. Well, 1.5 tenths off, I think.
As we flip back to Mad Al, who is currently sitting in P15 with a best lap time of 127.875. So good 2.5 seconds slower than the leaders right now, 2 to 2.5. There are still 5 drivers with no times set. So it looks like they might be going for a late qualifying strategy. Try to get in a couple laps late in the session.
I'd like to point out 10th and 10th place up to 4th place are only split by 6 tenths. So that midfield battle there is very, very close.
Yes, definitely. Especially in that 7th, 8th, 9th position, who are all within half a second, not even half a second, half of a 10th of a second of each other. All running 127.13s to 0.18s. So definitely very close in that top 10. Now Rigel coming across the line, see if he can improve his best time. He's been green in all of the sectors so far.
Up into 4th he goes.
Yeah, up into 4th.
That was a good lap.
So just able to improve his time a little bit. Getting within a 10th of a second of 3rd place. Still a good second behind the leaders though. So Jake Moore, RWB Godzilla, looking very good here in qualifying. Very solidly in 1-2 for the time being. We'll see if anyone can get close to them here as the session continues. As we are now watching 13th place is Xander Westenberg. His best time currently 127.66. Trying to just improve that a bit more. Hopping up into 8th place, Nigel Wood, the 127.1. As he comes around,
he's looking solid for this lap.
Yes, as he rounds turn 10 onto the start-finish line.
And he goes up to
3rd with a 126.33. So improving his lap time by a good 0.8 of a second. Very close to the leaders, just a bit ahead of Don Jordan in 4th. Charger coming across the line. No change there, still in 22nd place. And Godzilla rounding that turn 10 on... I take that back, that is not turn 10. But he does go purple in sector 2. Now rounding turn 10 onto that front straight. Let's see if he improves his lap time. He does, he shaves off good 0.11 seconds. Not enough to hop up into first, but definitely closing that gap to within 1/10 of a second. So one more good push lap like that, and might be able to push it over. Westenberg up into 13th place. I believe he was 16th just a couple seconds ago. Three cars with no lap times currently set. Alex Rogenbuck, Troy Adams, and Martin Potter. Still sitting in the pits with 5 minutes left in qualifying. Looks like they're waiting to do that final, for those final couple of minutes. One out lap and then one hot lap, and let's head out right now. A lap here, as you can tell by the times, taking about 125 to 130, depending on where in the field.
That's a very good lap by Phil Varley, up from 20-odd place to P8. The 126.7.
And once again, joining that very close contest in that 5th to 10th position, all within half a second of each other, with, you know, a mid to high 126s.
I think towards the end, we're going to see a lot of people move up and down the grid towards the end of qualifying.
Definitely. Everyone trying to set one or two more final hot laps.
Uh-oh.
As we see where everyone is currently on the track. Now watching Valentin Crusoe, currently P20, but looking to do another lap here as he follows that red and white car in front of him. Looks like Godzilla has managed to close the gap to Jake Moore in P1 to 5/100ths of a second with a 0.555. Moore looking like he improved his time a little bit to a 125.503. So both drivers setting faster laps than their prior best, but Godzilla's still not quite fast enough to overtake that pole from Jake.
I'm finding it strange that Jake Moore is still 3/10 off of his practice lap, his fastest practice lap.
Maybe not wanting to push the car too hard here in qualifying. Trying to save up a little bit for the race, make sure he gets through. As we have just about 3 minutes left in qualifying, so one out lap, one hot lap, and that's about it for the remaining of the drivers. Troy Adams and Martin Potter, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, both have not set a lap yet, so they're currently in 27th and 28th position respectively. We will see if they try to come out here for a quick lap. Now watching Jake Moore, who just went purple in Sector 1 yet again, shaving another 2/100ths off of his prior best. Also purple in Sector 2, so Jake Moore looking like he's trying to solidify his best lap time.
I think he lost a bit of time there following that car. He struggled under braking seemingly into the first corner of the S there. But he was looking very, very strong. If he can replicate those first and second sectors, then...
Yes, as we are on board, going around turn 10, headed to the start-finish line. We'll see what this lap comes in at. Yeah, it looks like trailing that car. Lost him just a bit of time with that traffic, coming in at 127.75, so not able to improve his time despite those purple Sector 1 and 2. However, he does have time for one more lap, Looks like he might have intentionally given himself a bit more space to the car in front to avoid that happening again. Looks like Godzilla has decided to return to the pits in P2, so his session is done at this point.
That's another purple first sector by Jake Moore, who's just looking to keep up his form from the previous lap.
Troy Adams has now set a lap. I'm still in P27 with a 131.75. That just goes to show some of the difference between the front of the pack and the back of the pack. I mean, it's separated by a good 5 seconds here. Most of the field running in the 127s.
Oh, that's a big mistake by Jake Moore.
Yeah, Jake Moore opting to just abandon the lap and return to the pits. Couple drivers still on track though. Don Jordan now returning to the pits himself, as we are now under a minute left of qualifying. Phil Varley coming across the line for the final time in P8, and does not look like there was any change there. RWB Pinpoint also returning to the garage. Now watching Crusoe, who's currently in P15 as he comes and places his final lap. Coming around turn 10, coming up the start-finish line, with one other car closely following. And so for our top 10, we have Jake Moore, RWB Godzilla, Don Jordan, Nigel Wood, Dirk Gretschel, RWB John D, RWB Rigel, Phil Varley, RWB Pinpoint, and Ian R.G. Watkins, as qualifying comes to a close here in 2, 1, and all times are now official. Martin Potter opting to not set a qualifying time. Looks like he's opting to do a last to first challenge. So he will start at the back of the pack here. We have 3 minutes to warm up here before we get into the grid for green flag. All the drivers making some final tuning changes, anything that might notice from qualifying. As we observe our pole sitter, Jake Moore, who will start on the front row next to RWB Godzilla here in the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Track temp changing just a little bit here for the race. 28 degrees Celsius track temperature, and 21 degree air temperature. So a little bit cooler track, but a little bit warmer air temp. So we'll see how that factors in to the car setups and the race conditions. Wind, still not really a factor. Sunny, dry. With 2 minutes left before green.
Some of the cars making some last-minute changes to setup to accommodate for the extra fuel load. Some of them not going for the setup change for the fuel load and looking to have some pace at the end of the race. So it'll be interesting to see how the strategies play out.
Definitely. And again, there's no mandatory pit stops, but all the cars will have to come in for fuel. They do not have enough fuel for a full 30-minute race. Maximum fuel load on these Formula 3 cars is about 25 minutes. So the pit window is open from starting around the 5-minute mark. We could see some cars, push it later. So we'll see a wide range of strategies here. Talking with a few of the drivers, does not sound like anyone's planning on changing tires, but we'll see how that changes once the race begins. As we see a whole group of cars exiting pit lane to get one last warm-up lap in, with just over a minute left in the warm-up session. A couple of cars just cruising around the circuit. Not going for full pace here, just kind of getting a feel for the track again. Nobody really doing a full speed lap, it looks like. Once we go on board with RWB Pinpoint. Looks like he is trying to do a bit of a warm-up here through Sector 1 at least, with 10 seconds remaining in the warm-up before we line up for the race beginning.
It's a bit of a balancing act on the warm-up lap to not wear your tires out too much, but also you want to keep some temperature in them for the start of the race.
Exactly. Yeah. Have to be careful in the warm-up. Tires aren't warmed up yet. You're just trying to get a bit of temperature in for that start, so you have all that traction at that start-finish line. We have 60 seconds here in the garage for all the drivers. Once again, last-minute tweaks after that brief warm-up session, and then we will line up on the grid. So once again, Jake Moore on pole in P1, RWB Charger in P2, also joining him on that front row as we see the cars getting lined up on the grid. Just about 20 seconds remaining until the lights go out. Arthur, is there anything that we're really looking for here on the start as we prepare for the lights?
I think Godzilla, Moore might have to defend quite aggressively against him because he might swing up down the inside. And that's a lot of wheel spin from the front too, and it seems like Jordan has gotten quite a good start.
As we go green here in the Red Bull Ring in Austria, Godzilla going for the inside, but Don Jordan going around the outside up into P2. Trying to hold off Godzilla here as we watch the fight for P2. Too wide down the rest of the pack. Fairly clean start. Did not notice any major incidents there through turn 1. As we go into turn 3. Now going onto the smaller back straight as all the cars start shuffling into single file. Jake Moore still up in P1. Godzilla holding on to P2. Don Jordan in 3rd, Dirk Reckel in 4th, and Nigel Wood in 5th. Phil Varley trying to make a move around the outside. And will he make it stick? It looks like we won't. It did not look like it was going to stick. Another fight here for the 23rd position between Marco and Potter. Well, getting a little bit loose there on that corner exit, it looked like, but managing to hold on. Ferguson and Watkins in P11 and 12, coming around turn 10 on the front straight. Maybe a move going into turn 1 here, as we see Ferguson trying to look around the outside a little bit. Or that would be the car behind them, actually, Mad Al. And we have a spin out with... I wasn't able to see who that was, but there was a car off track in turn 1 on lap 2 there.
I think that was Ferguson.
That would appear to be Ferguson, yes, who's just now rejoining the track. So Ferguson off track after fighting P11. Fortunately, not sure whether it got loose or whether it was in contact there. I'm sure that will be investigated by our race stewards afterwards. As we flip back up to our leaders, Jake Moore establishing a very good lead over RWB Godzilla even after over 1 lap, with a 2-second gap so far and growing. Jordan about a second behind Godzilla. Gretschel and Wood fighting for position, going through this turn 6, 7, 8 sequence. As we are now watching this fight for P4. This is for position.
Nigel Wood got a little wide on the exit there, but I think the draft's going to do enough for him to get him up the inside. Maybe not. He's decided to back out of that move.
Yeah, look like
and I think he's focused on a good exit to get him into this turn.
Yes, Jordan desperately trying to hold off Dirk Gretschel here. Try and go around the outside. Did he make it stick? It looks like he made it stick. So successfully passing around the outside up into third place. RWB Godzilla and Jake Moore still comfortably up front with 2-second gap over each of the cars behind them. Gretschel still defending from Jordan here. For P3, Jordan content to settle in behind for the time being. In the meantime, looks like we have some action down in P8 and P9 between Phil Varley and RWB Pinpoint, as Pinpoint goes around the inside, it looks like. Still contesting each other through the
that's contact.
Little bit of contact there. No cars look to be majorly damaged, though. Something has just happened with Justin Burley. Looks like he has some front engine damage. So he is lagging behind currently. His front aero damage looks like he's not able to turn, and into the wall he goes. I'm sure that will end his race, or at least send him back to the pits for repairs. Jumping back up into this fight for P7, 8, and 9 between Pinpoint, Audi, Varley, and Watkins, all drafting each other down this back straight. Coming in this corner, will anyone make a move? Looks like that might have been Varley trying to go around the outside on Audi. Not, and that's a car in the wall behind them. Not sure if that's one from the group just going wide, or if that was someone behind them just missing the braking point.
That might have been Burley recovering from the impact he had earlier.
Potentially. I'm not sure where on the track that incident occurred.
I think, I may be mistaken, but I think I just saw one, or someone parked beside the wall on the inside of turn 4.
Well, let's see who that is on turn 4. As we see Moore with a solid lead over Godzilla. From going around turn 10 on the front straight themselves. Meantime, looks like we do have a fight going on for P4, 5, and 6 between Nigel Wood, RWB Rigel, and RWB John D. Going on the front straight. Let's hop on board with RWB Rigel as they head into turn 1. Not doing anything aggressive, just continuing to follow for the time being, playing it safe. As they now head down the next long straight into turns 2 and 3.
Oh, that's an aggressive move around the outside.
Sends it around the outside, not able to hold it though, losing just a bit too much momentum for that corner entry. Looks like we have some more. While this battle goes on, we have some more action down in the lower half of the field in P17 and 18 between Demencio Panto and Martin Pater again in position 18-19. Going around turn 6 and into turn 7. Marco ahead in this fight. Panto closely following. As the two drivers space each other out, tend to just follow for the time being. Looks like Nigel Wood has lost a little bit of time to Rigel and John D. For P4. As they head into turn 1 here. All three drivers keeping it clean. No outrageous moves after that front straight.
Jake Moore and RWB Godzilla have opened up a nice gap.
Yes, so Jake Moore still solidly out front with 2.5 second gap over RWB Godzilla. Godzilla himself with a 3.8 second gap over third place Dirk Gretschel. Meantime, in P12, 13, 14, we have Mad Al, Sean Wright, and Valentin Crusoe, all within half second of each other. As they go around that steep right-hander. Settling into a line as they head down this next straight. Anyone looking for a move? No one pushing it too much there. Looked like Maddow may have wanted to try it a little bit. Just take an exploratory poke up the inside, but deciding to not commit. We continue watching this fight play out. Meanwhile, we have a fight for P7 between Ian Watkins and RWB Pinpoint. Oh, getting really close there on the straight. Pinpoint making move to the inside here for turn 1, looks like. Stuck his nose out there, deciding to back out. Trying not to lose too much time there. Got a little bit loose on that corner entry. So losing a bit of time, headed down this turn 2, turn 3 straight. As we hop back to Mad Al, being chased closely by Sean Wright, who is only a 1/10 of a second behind. Taking a look to the inside for this next corner. Right, trying to make the inside stick, cutting it just a little bit too short and losing some time. Looks like we have a decision here from the stewards on one of the incidents earlier. I cannot see who that is, but looks like there was a track limits abuse called. So someone taking the corners just a little bit too short. Not sure who that was on, though. This battle for P11, 12, and 13 continues to go on. Jake Moore still out front with now a 3-second gap over Godzilla, so not even just holding position, but actively extending his gap over second place. At this point, he's just on his own race.
Yeah, I mean, I think him and Godzilla especially are just in a league of their own. They're both 5 seconds ahead of third place now, and it's only been 8 laps, so
yeah,
they're really, really on fire today.
Yeah, 10 minutes in this 30-minute race. Jake Moore out in front by 3 seconds, and Godzilla in second place, 5 seconds ahead of Dirk Gretschel in third. Meanwhile, jumping to the back of the field, we do have a fight for P23, 24, and 25 between Rijkaard, De Vries, and Martinovic. Headed down the front straight into turn 1. Looks like it might be De Vries. Yes, that's De Vries sending it up the inside over Rijkaard. Rijkaard holding the outside line, though. Looks like getting a little bit of a better corner exit. De Vries going wide on the exit, losing a bit of time. So now it's Martinovic up into P24. De Vries in that black and orange Formula 3 car behind them. Sean Wright, RWB Charger, Valentin Crusoe, B12, 13, 14, still fighting. And who's this wide? Someone goes wide into the gravel trap on the outside. Carefully rejoining as some of the cars swerve just a little bit to avoid. That looks like that is Sean Wright that went off track. Back down into P18, so going from about P13, dropping good 5 or 6 positions. Fifth place, RWB John D, rapidly closing in at RWB Rigel in fourth, only 0.3 seconds behind, and closely following. As we look backwards from RWB Rigel, see how that gap develops along the straight. John D closing just a little bit on the straight, so getting a little bit of better corner exit. Will he try anything going into, I'm guessing this is turn 3. Not able to close the gap too much. Gap staying fairly consistent. And something has happened in the backfield. Domenico Ponto returning to the garage, while Justin Burley goes to lap down. So Ponto looks like is out of the race. Looks like he has retired, and has at least returned to the garage. In the meantime, someone going off track. Looks like that might have been Crusoe as he rapidly drops down the list. He's trying to regain speed again. Potter, Wright, and Crusoe still fighting, while we have the fight between Al Gartner and RWB Marco in P12 and 13 directly in front of them. You can see that, that fight between Wright and Crusoe in the background. Al Gartner leading him down this front straight. Heading into turn 1. No risky moves from anyone there as they all go single file into turn 1. Oh, there was some contact in the back there between Sean Wright and Crusoe, it looked like. Definitely some contact behind them. And someone setting it a bit too hard and getting into the back. Right, trying to take the inside line around this corner. It looks like I wonder if he has some damage after that collision.
I think that was a little tap onto Crusoe's front wing on the back of Sean Wright's rear tire.
I would agree with that, so we'll see if that impacts his race at all. Hopefully he doesn't have a flat tire from that. Looks like the stewards potentially assessing penalty there. I could not read that in time. As Justin Burley has opted to return the garage as well. Currently 2 laps down. Not sure if he's just repairing damage or has retired completely. So we have a fight down P23, P24 between RWB Audi and Troy Adams. Jumping back up with RW Marco in P13, who is trying to go around the outside of Al Gartner. So it looks like we are beginning this pit cycle here 15 minutes into this race. A couple of cars opting to come down pit lane, so we have begun the refueling cycle. We will see how these strategies play out. Jake Moore, RWB Godzilla, still out in front halfway through this race. Moore opening the gap just a little bit more to Godzilla. Still holding around 3 seconds. And Godzilla continuing to open the gap back to 3rd place with Dirk Gretschel. Jumping up into 5th, we have Phil Varley trying to defend against Ian Watkins. Watkins looking to make a move. Trying to make a move around the outside, not able to make it stick though, as Varley holds that racing line on the inside. As they come around into these mini S's. I do apologize for that background microphone noise. As we continue to watch this fight between Phil Varley and Ian Watkins for P5. Meantime, jumping back down the order into P11, 12, and 13, there is a fight between Marco, Potter, and Wright. Another message from Race Control coming through for yet another track limits abuse by someone. The stewards have issued a ruling there. Looks like another car opting to make a run in the pits. Looks like that might be Stephen Ferguson going into the pits as he drops down the order some. Meanwhile, Watkins and Varley still actively fighting down this straight. Watkins looking to go around the outside here into this corner. Not able to do it. Not with Varley having that racing line. Varley giving him plenty of space though, but still maintaining position. Coming through turn 6. Back in midfield, we do have some action going on in P13, 14, 15. RWB John D making a move on Valentin Crusoe. As they all settle back in single file. A little bit of action going back there. Front leaders still opting to... Still maintaining position. RW Rigel... looks like Godzilla has opted for his pit stop because he has dropped back to 6th now. So he is currently 5.5 seconds ahead of 7th place, but 3 behind 5th. Jake Moore still out in front, not taking his pit stop yet. So he will need to come in at some point. Dirk Gretschel up into 2nd with Godzilla making that pit stop. Jake Moore, a very comfortable race so far, started on the pole, has stayed there, and currently has a 14-second lead over 2nd place. RWB Marco Potter and Ian Watkins back in P8, or 9, 10, and 11, excuse me. Currently fighting for position.
The question is, who's going to be the brave one that's going to dive into the pits first in this battle?
Yes, I do not believe any of these drivers have yet pitted. So we will see how that influences this battle. Will one of them opt to come in early, just try to undercut one of the others, or are they just going to follow each other in?
It's going to be tough for Sean Wright to come in because he's at the very front of it, so he can't come in first, or else he won't be able to get any strategic advantage. So we might see, and there it is.
Who's that? Looks like we did see Martin Potter here, diving for the pit lane from the back of that battle, coming in for a little bit of fuel. Potter coming in. These cars, they only need a quick splash of fuel. They don't need too much. They're only about 5 minutes short from full fuel load.
It's going to be critical for him to get no traffic on this pit exit so that he can get those good laps in before the others box behind him.
As he exits this, we jump back into P17 and 18, fighting going down the front straight, going turn 1. This might be the group that Potter comes out in front of or next to, between this fight with Timo Konecki, I'm sorry if I got your name wrong, Xander Westenberg, and Martin Potter, who has rejoined right at the back of this, not even a tenth of a second behind. So this very close fight in this mid to back of the field.
Potter's going to want to clear these guys very, very quickly if he wants to have any chance of making the undercut work against his rivals up in the midfield.
Yes, as we go to the overhead camera for Potter, headed down. Oh, someone went wide. Who is that? That was Timo Konecki, going wide in the gravel trap around that corner as they make this slight left-hander into turn 6. Headed now into turn 7. Potter continuing to just trail this group, now with a little bit of space between them. Don Jordan making his pit stop with someone else pulling in through him. RWB Marco and Pinpoint fighting it out here. Let's hop on board with Ian Watkins, who should be seeing all this happen in his mirror. As we see the two cars of RWB Marco and RWB Pinpoint fighting behind him. So we have this three-way battle for P7, 8, and 9. Nigel Wood rapidly approaching this group too, only a couple tenths behind RWB Pinpoint at the back of this pack.
Potter seems to be the only one that's pitted from this group. No one seems to have wanted to respond to his pit stop.
Yeah, they do have 1 or 2 laps of fuel remaining. 8 minutes left in this race. The Formula 3 cars do have about 25 minutes of fuel. So looks like the other cars opting to wait till the end of their stint. Come in, just get the splash to get the last 5 minutes. Try to keep the car as light as possible for as long as possible. Get that little bit extra time. That's the downside of coming in early. You're going to be heavier for longer. So it affects the cornering just a bit. I'd be Pinpoint and Nigel Wood. This is Pinpoint trying to go around the inside of RWB Marco. Not enough speed to make a stick, although he did take a very close look. Headed down the front straight now. RWB Godzilla back up into third, only 3 seconds behind Dirk Gretschel, who I do not believe has pitted yet. So he should jump back up into second place when that occurs. As we go 3 wide here, down this straightaway, a bit of contact there. It's hard to tell if that was net code or contact. It certainly creates interesting visuals. As we see Wood go, oh, that was definitely some contact there from Marco. As we see Marco managing to recover the car, not going the barrier, but definite contact between Nigel Wood and RWB Marco for P9 and 10. Jumping back in the pack into P20, we do have a fight going into turn 1 between RWB Audi and Troy Adams. RWB Al Gartner also involved in this at the back. It's that orange car that we see at the back. Looking at the inside, We look at the outside for a move, I should say, around that slight bend in the inside for turn 3. And he does make a stick, but that was close. But successfully passing up into P21. All the cars kind of spreading out for the time being. Nothing too exciting happening. Dirk Gretschel has come to the pits now. Looks like he's just exiting, so RWB Godzilla is back up into second place. Currently 30 seconds behind Jake Moore. So that leads me to believe Moore has not pitted yet. So that gap should decrease substantially once Moore pits. It should be this lap. He should be just about out of fuel. Stephen Ferguson under attack from Valentin Crusoe. Don Jordan with a slowdown penalty for track limits abuse. Just in from the stewards. So we see Pater, Crusoe, and Konitsky continuing to fight for P13, 14, and 15. Looks like another slowdown penalty now issued for Martinovic. Also for track limits. Potter just getting just a little bit loose. And losing a bit of time. Don Jordan and Valentin Crusoe behind. Also fighting just a little bit. Looks like Jake Moore has pitted. That gap went from 30 seconds down to 13. So it looks like the car's losing about 17, 18 seconds on these pit cycles, as we are now under 5 minutes remaining in this race. Jake Moore out in P1 with a 13-second lead over RWB Godzilla, who is himself 6 seconds ahead of Dirk Gretschel, who's been in third. RWB Rigel, though, pursuing about a second and a half behind, followed by Phil Varley, Ian G. Watkins, Nigel Wood, RWB Pinpoints, RWB John D, and Mad L to round out your top 10. Nigel Wood currently being pursued by RWB Pinpoint. As we watch this, everyone settling in at this point. Pinpoint trying to close this gap a little bit around turn 4, I believe that was. Pinpoint looking around the outside, taking a look, nothing there quite yet though. RWB Audi getting aggressive here on Xander Westenberg back in P18. This is 4th position yet again. Oh, Westenberg making a run around the outside. Westenberg trying to defend the outside. Audi looking up the inside. As we go on board with Audi. Again, this is for P18 between RW Audi and Xander Westenberg. Audi getting a good run out of this corner, diving the inside for turn 7, sorry. Rapidly closing in on Crusoe, who has to jump out of the way. Audi losing just a little bit of time there to Westenberg, who is now side by side heading into turn 9. Just a moderate right-hander. Audi carrying just a bit too much speed, so Westenberg leapfrogs ahead. Crusoe still now behind RWB Audi. But under attack from Al Gartner himself. I wonder if Crusoe has damage, because he is rapidly dropping down the field here, definitely off the pace, as we have 2 minutes remaining in this race. Meanwhile, in the midfield, up in P13 and 14, we do have Timo Koneski and Don Jordan fighting for position with Martin Potter. Looking back from Martin's Potter car in P12, Timo Koneski and Don Jordan fighting behind him as they try to catch up. Jake Moore in the lead, now a 14-second lead over RWB Godzilla in second. The top 5 to 7, pretty consistent at this point, all with comfortable gaps over each other. Potter going wide and into the wall. Going out of T10, pushing just a little bit too hard. So he drops back down to P14. I'm sure there'll be some damage there on his car. Don Jordan still attacking Timo Konecki, who goes around. Timo has gone off the track and spun. Where is this? Konecki, so that is just past turn 1. So that was in turn 1. I'm not sure if there's contact involved there. We did not see that on that camera angle.
This may be the tire wear kicking in.
That could be the tire wear, yeah, as there's 45 seconds remaining in this session. Drivers pushing as hard as they can for those last couple of positions. Maybe pushing it just a little bit too hard there and going the opposite direction of where you want to be going. Nigel Wood being followed by RWB Pinpoint here for P7. Pinpoint trying to make one final pass here with 15 seconds remaining. So this will be final lap for this race. Going around turn 1 onto the side straightaway. RWB Pinpoint. Let's see if he can close this gap into turn 3. Little bit, not too much time gained. Nigel Wood with a good exit, so able to hold this gap. Pinpoint trying to get this draft, getting just a little bit of time down the straight. Trying to look to the inside into turn 4. And that was Nigel Wood stalling out on the inside of the track. Pinpoint going around the outside. Nigel dropping back into P8. Checkered flag has officially waved. Jake Moore officially ending the race in first place. RWB Godzilla, Dirk Crutchell in third. RWB Rigel in fourth, about to cross the finish line. As we see the wide gap between these leading cars. Of Phil Varley crossing the finish line here in fifth. Ian Watkins in sixth. RWB Pinpoint in seventh. Nigel Wood in eighth. RWB John D in ninth, right behind him. Mad Al coming around turn 10 on the front stretch for the final time for this race in P10. Stephen Ferguson, P11. Don Jordan, P12. Martin Potter, after a very exciting race from him, non-stop action. Feels like we came back to him quite a bit this race. Finishing in P13. Timo Konecki in 14th. RWB Charger in 15th after starting, gaining a couple positions from the start. RWB Marco in 16th. Xander Westenberg 17th. Dominika Martinovic in 18th. It's like opting to just head down the pit lane here. RWB Al Gartner in 19th. That was a spin from RWB Audi, looked like. Spin from someone right behind him. As we see the official race results here. RWB Moore with a very solid win over RWB Godzilla with a 15.2 second lead. Also holding the best lap of the race with a 125.77. So Moore, very solid performance. With a quite a bit faster best lap, even over second place Godzilla. As we see down the remaining of the grid. Arthur, what did you think of that race? That concludes race 1 here. We do have another 30-minute race coming up in just a couple minutes. Yeah,
I think the drivers are going to have learned a lot about strategy this race. It seemed that the gamble Potter had on did not work out for him of hitting early or at the halfway mark. seems that the strategy is to just wait until your fuel tank runs out and then box.
Yeah, I think a lot of it too depends on where you are in the grid. I mean, Potter, we also saw, was fighting quite a bit. So, and even when he exited, he ended up right behind a group of cars, so he wasn't able to take advantage of, that fresh fuel. It didn't look like he got tires. It looks like we're having some technical difficulties. I apologize for that. But Jake Moore, solid win in race 1.
Yeah, I think for race 2, I think some drivers might try to swap tires. Because it seems like the tires for some drivers hit the cliff towards the end of the race, because we saw 2 drivers spin almost in sequence. So that'll be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting decision. I think if the race was a bit longer, we'd see more of that. I mean, maybe more like a 40-minute race. But, with only a 30-minute race and 25 minutes of fuel, I don't think, even with fresh tires, I doubt there's enough time to make up that additional time you're spending on that stop.
That's true. We might see if in the second race, in the first lap, that there's a little bit of contact and someone gets damage, then someone who hits very early may just have a good strategy. If like a heavy undercut with 5 minutes in, that might just work.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that strategy definitely working out for that late pit stop, able to make up just that little bit of time by pushing it later, and definitely gaining time, not losing any positions, I should say. Jake Moore finishing in P1 with RWB Godzilla in P2 as we try to resolve these technical difficulties before the second race begins.
It really seems that track position is very important, and if you can defend very well, then you'll do very well in this race, because it seems like the defending aspect of this track and these cars is vital towards the performance.
Yeah, definitely. Those cars, there's a couple good passing zones, but the car's about equal enough in speed over these stints. Again, tire wear playing a little bit of a role towards the end, it looked like, just in terms of overall traction. But for the majority, not too much of a role. So the cars all able to maintain pace with each other, really coming down to driver skill here. Little bit of fuel strategy there. When do you pit? When do you not? Do you want to get out of traffic? But if you pit from the back, but you pit early, you're going to lose a little bit of time because you're running more fuel for longer. And that's always that trade-off there. Do you pit for just fuel, for tires? When do you pit? Do you have traffic in front? Are you going to come out in front of traffic that might be behind you? Look, pit stops, including the travel time down pit lane, taking about 18 seconds here, it looked like, and from what we saw in race 1. As we
if you're in a battle, then it might be very well worth it to just box and come out 18 seconds behind, because if you have open air, you can gain a lot of ground. Because especially around the corners of this track, going side by side, you lose over half a second on some of these corners just going side by side. So if you can get open air coming out of the pits, I think you're golden, and you might be on for a very, very strong undercut.
Yes, definitely. I would agree with that.
But it's all about the timing. If you get the timing wrong, it could end very, very badly.
Yeah, and we kind of saw that with, once again, Martin Potter there. Coming in from the back of his battle, coming out, a tenth of a second behind a different battle, and really not able to take advantage of that undercut as a result. Not getting clean track. As we continue to have technical difficulties, we are currently working on resolving these.
I think race 2 is going to be very, very exciting with the experience the drivers have learned. And so,
guys, sorry. There's been a slight cock up on my behalf. The next race is 30 laps, not 30 minutes. So it'll probably run another 10 or 15 minutes tops over. Sorry about that. I cocked up the settings.
All right, so it looks like there has been a quick rule change for race 2 of this set. Rather than a 30-minute sprint race, we're having a 30-lap sprint race. So about twice, about 1.5 times duration here. That's about equivalent to a 45-minute race. Cars doing a bit under a minute 30 each.
I think we might see some very good strategies here now with this longer race announcement.
Yes, now that we have the longer race, now we might see some tires. Each car, again, only having about 25 minutes of fuel, so we will see only one pit stop. But now that duration, now that tire will become quite significant. As we see the server reboot of Raceroom, those ongoing technical difficulties. Please stand by for that. We will get back in as soon as we can.
All right. Well, Scheller, I'm hoping you'll enjoy race 2. Sadly, I won't be able to be there for that, but I think it'll be a good one.
Yes, definitely. It will be a very exciting race here. Thank you for joining me for race 1 as we wait here for the beginning of race 2.
Yeah, and we'll get race 2 going, or this server back up here in a second. Or not the server, the game.
All right.
Thank you, Scheller, for commentating with me. And thank you, the audience, for watching this. It's been a great time.
Yes. Give us just a couple minutes here to get set up for race 2, and we will be back.
All right, folks, just to give you a heads up what's going on, I'm having a difficult time getting the game to load again. I'm going to keep working at it. Hopefully, you can get live here in a few minutes. If not, we may just end the stream early. All right, folks, my apologies. I can't get the game up and running again. Looks like we're going to have to restart everything, so we're going to lose the stream. Hopefully, we can do this again next week without